You can always feel it before you can explain it. That moment when a toxic person walks into your life and suddenly everything feels heavier. Maybe it's the coworker who constantly makes backhanded comments. Maybe it's the partner who criticizes you in the name of helping. Maybe it's the friend who turns every conversation into a competition. The behavior might be subtle, but the way it lands inside your body is not. Your stomach drops. You start second-guessing yourself. You replay conversations at night, wondering if you misunderstood something or if you somehow overreacted. And yet, deep down, something feels off. But here's the truth. Toxic people don't always harm you through what they do. They harm you through how they shape your thinking. They plant seeds of doubt, twist narratives, and slowly train your mind to accept less than you deserve. Today, you're going to learn how cognitive reframing becomes a mental shield. 7 powerful techniques that don't just help you deal with toxic people, but protect your identity, your confidence, and your emotional freedom. These techniques work because they transform the way you interpret behavior, meaning you stop absorbing their negativity and start reclaiming your power. Cognitive reframing is one of the most powerful psychological tools ever studied. It's used in cognitive behavioral therapy, performance psychology, trauma work, and emotional resilience training. At its core, reframing is the ability to take a painful, confusing, or manipulative moment and look at it from a perspective that empowers you instead of weakens you. Psychology research shows that the thoughts you attach to an experience determine how deeply that experience affects you. Toxic people know this instinctively, even if they don't know the science. They attack your thinking, your interpretations, your self-talk, your meaning-making, because that's where your vulnerabilities live. When you strengthen those mental frames, everything changes. The first technique is learning to shift perspective so criticism stops becoming a weapon. Toxic people are masters at projecting their insecurities onto others. They criticize not to help, but to control, destabilize, or feel superior. Without reframing, it's easy to internalize their harsh words and even start believing them. But perspective shift allows you to step back and view the criticism as a reflection of them, not a reflection of you. When someone attacks your character without cause, the attack reveals their inner world, their jealousy, their need for dominance, their fear of being exposed, not your worth. Every time someone says, "You're too emotional," "You're too sensitive," or "You're not good enough," cognitive reframing helps you ask, whose voice is this really echoing? Often, it's not yours. And once you see the projection, the criticism loses its power. As that perspective lands, a natural transition happens. If their words aren't an accurate reflection of your value, then you're allowed to draw lines that protect your energy. This is where boundary framing comes in. Toxic people want you to believe that your boundaries are selfish. They want you to feel guilty for saying no, stepping back, or choosing peace over chaos. But reframing transforms boundaries from acts of selfishness into acts of self-respect. Protecting your mental health is not an offense against someone else, it's a defense of your own stability. This shift helps you see boundaries as a form of emotional hygiene, the same way washing your hands prevents infection. You're not shutting people out, you're shutting toxicity out. Once this frame clicks, you stop justifying your limits. You stop apologizing for protecting yourself. You stop shrinking to make room for someone else's dysfunction. Yet even with clear boundaries, toxic people often try something stronger: gaslighting. This is where the next technique becomes vital: the evidence test. Gaslighting works by getting you to trust their version of reality over your own. They twist events, deny things they said, or accuse you of misremembering. But reframing through the evidence test allows you to anchor yourself in facts instead of feelings. When your emotions are being manipulated, facts become lifelines. Instead of arguing in circles or pleading for validation, you return to what you know is true, what you saw, what you heard, what actually happened. Evidence breaks the spell of confusion. It allows you to reclaim the stability that toxic people try to shake. And more importantly, it teaches your mind to rely on grounded truth, not the emotional fog that toxic people create. Once you're rooted in evidence, your mind becomes stronger at filtering what truly matters. That's where the control filter begins to reshape your emotional world. Toxic people thrive when they can pull you into reacting to their behavior. They want to see you upset, confused, or spiraling because it confirms the power dynamic they're trying to maintain. But reframing teaches you to focus on the only thing you actually control: your response. You cannot control someone's insults. You cannot control someone's manipulation. You cannot control someone's immaturity, insecurity, or unpredictability. But you can control the meaning you attach to it and the energy you give it. This filter keeps you from being dragged into emotional battles that were never yours to fight. It shifts your mindset from, "I need them to change," to, "I can change how I respond." And that shift instantly lowers their influence over your life. As you gain more control over your responses, another frame becomes accessible, one that paradoxically involves compassion. Not the kind of compassion that excuses toxic behavior, but a reframed compassion that understands the source of it. When someone consistently acts in ways that harm others, it usually reflects their inner pain, unresolved trauma, or emotional immaturity. This doesn't justify what they do, and it doesn't mean you should stay close to them. But reframing their behavior as a reflection of their wounds, not your inadequacy, releases you from taking everything personally. Their cruelty is not a measure of your value, it's a mirror of what they carry inside. This compassion reframing allows you to detach emotionally. It quiets the self-blame. It helps you move from "what's wrong with me" to "this is who they are, and it has nothing to do with my worth." And that detachment gives you the clarity to step away without guilt. As that clarity builds, your mind stops being trapped in endless replaying of past interactions. Toxic people pull you backwards. They want you ruminating, overthinking, questioning yourself, stuck in loops that drain your mental strength. Future focus is the technique that breaks that cycle. This reframing helps you redirect your mind from "what happened" to "what am I building next?" Instead of obsessing over past conversations, you begin placing your attention on the life you want, the habits you're forming, the goals you're moving toward. It's nearly impossible for toxic people to control you when your mind is anchored in your future instead of your past. You reclaim your time, your imagination, your emotional bandwidth, and you start to realize that the past cannot define you unless you allow it to. Finally, once you stop living inside their world, you can return to your own. This is where identity anchoring becomes life-changing. Toxic people erode your sense of self by making you question your values, your strengths, your intentions, and even your memories. But reframing helps you ground yourself in the identity that existed long before they entered your life, and the identity that will exist long after they're gone. You anchor yourself in who you are, what you believe, what you stand for, and what you refuse to tolerate. Their opinions lose weight because your identity is no longer negotiable. You no longer seek approval from people who have no authority over your worth. You reclaim the narrative of your life, and with it, the confidence that toxic people try to steal. When these 7 reframes come together, something powerful happens. You build what psychologists call mental armor, not a cold, hardened shell that blocks out connection, but a strong inner shield that blocks out manipulation. You start seeing toxic behavior for what it truly is, a reflection of someone else's internal struggles, not a verdict on your value. You learn to protect your peace without apology. You stop reacting to provocation, stop absorbing negativity, and stop internalizing the chaos around you. You create a life where your thoughts belong to you again. And as that armor strengthens, you begin to move differently. You speak with more clarity. You walk with more certainty. You trust your intuition again. You realize that your mind is not a playground for someone else's dysfunction. It is your home, your sanctuary, your power. Cognitive reframing doesn't change toxic people. It changes you. And through that shift, their ability to hurt you collapses. So as we wrap this up, take a moment to recognize the strength it takes to look inward instead of outward, to choose clarity instead of confusion, to protect your identity instead of defending someone else's behavior. You've learned 7 techniques that don't just help you survive toxic people, they help you rise above them. Your mental shield is built piece by piece through perspective, boundaries, evidence, control, compassion, future focus, and identity. Every time you use one of these reframes, you reclaim a little more space inside yourself, and eventually you realize that no toxic person can touch a mind that knows how to defend its meaning. Before you go, I want to hear from you. Which of these 7 reframing techniques spoke to you the most? Which one feels like the missing piece you've been needing? Drop it in the comments below. And if you're building a stronger, calmer, clearer mind, make sure you subscribe so you never miss a new video. You deserve a life where your thoughts work for you, not against you. And that journey starts right here.